Last year, a large documentary crew came to Anarchapulco to interview many of the biggest names in Bitcoin. What they ended up producing is the best Bitcoin documentary to date, called Magic Money, The Bitcoin Revolution. If you still haven't wrapped your head around what I've been saying since 2011, that Bitcoin is an evolution in money and banking, then you need to watch this documentary, especially with Bitcoin again now exploding over $1,000. And even if you already understand Bitcoin to a great extent, you will still enjoy the movie, as it gives a great, well-detailed narrative on why Bitcoin changes so much. Here's the trailer.
Bitcoin is generally difficult to explain. You want to try and break it down as simple as you can.
This is a story about the biggest financial revolution the world has ever seen. It's called Bitcoin.
With the exception of actually handing physical cash to you, generally we have to rely on third parties for lots of different payments. And what Bitcoin does is allow us to do all of those things without any third parties.
All of these traditional services that we're used to control who's allowed to have an account, who can send money from who. With Bitcoin, you don't have to ask for permission.
Bitcoin, nobody gets to turn it off. If you have the private key, you get to access it and use it.
Imagine a world where we all have complete control over our money.
Bitcoin does get into this niche of the underserviced people in the banking industry. They can now have the equivalent of a bank in their cell phone.
For some, the revolution has already begun.
Anybody in this room can now send and receive any amount of money with anyone, anywhere in the world, right now, and there's nothing that anybody can do to stop that. That was not possible before the invention of Bitcoin.
Around the world, people are experiencing the unique power of Bitcoin.
Some of the areas where Bitcoin has been most popular so far is China, Argentina, Iran.
The true use of Bitcoin is to give you financial privacy, which I find extremely important.
Discover the magic of Bitcoin.
Personally, I perceive Bitcoin like a freedom-enhancing tool.
Bitcoin allows you to send and receive money with anyone, anywhere in the world, just like magic. I'm at a loss for words because it's that exciting and that world-changing.
Magic Money, the Bitcoin Revolution.
You can watch the entire film at magicmoneyfilm.com or on Vimeo for only $4.99. Plus, if you use the discount code Vigilante, you get 20% off. You can also pay for it in Bitcoin, of course. The film features many people who will be speaking at the upcoming TDV Investment Summit and the Anarchapulco and Cryptopulco conferences from February 24th to 28th, including Roger Ver, Trace Mayer, Tone Vays, Pavel Luptak, and myself. Bitcoin truly is magic money. Check out the documentary in the links below to see why.
The world is going to be dramatically different in just a few short years. The European Union is fracturing, beginning with Brexit. Donald Trump is ushering in a new era of populism and protectionism. Government debt is wildly out of control. Numerous central banks have gone to negative interest rates in order to keep the system going just a little while longer. Capital controls are increasing, while the war on cash has been pursued with fervor in places like India and Venezuela. The World Bank, IMF, Bank of Canada, George Soros, Jacob Rothschild, and many more have warned that we are in uncharted waters and on the edge of collapse. Putting your money in a mutual fund and holding it for 30 years will not work anymore. Jeff Berwick has been warning of this since founding the Dollar Vigilante with Ed Bugos in 2010, and his calls have been epic. He was the first prominent financial commentator to tell his subscribers and the public to get into Bitcoin when it was $3 in 2011. It is currently $800.
What's your connection to Bitcoin?
My main connection is I'm incredibly excited about it. Bitcoin is a revolution in money and banking, the same way that the internet was a revolution in communication.
Ed Bugos has been one of the few to warn of the 2001 and 2008 crashes, and has been bullish on gold since its bottom in the year 2000. And together, they are holding their annual TDV Investment and Internationalization Summit this February in Acapulco, Mexico, to help you prepare for the crisis ahead. Last year at the TDV Summit, they warned of what was coming and gave advice that made attendees fortunes.
This is why we're at where we're at, central banking. Give a man a gun and he can rob a bank. Give a man a bank and he can rob everyone. And, you know, we all grew up watching old westerns and people would rob banks. That was the good old days. Now banks rob you.
Ed Bugos mentioned 3 stocks to buy. Agnico Eagle.
Agnico Eagle is run by one of the most experienced management teams in the industry.
And it rose 76.31% since. B2 Gold Corp.
B2 Gold Corp is responsible for discovering more than 30 million ounces of gold in their careers.
And it rose 248%. And Sabina Gold and Silver Corp.
Sabina is an emerging producer.
It then rose 147%. These are terrific calls, and this year you can expect more of them. Jeff Berwick and Ed Bugos will be surrounded with an all-star lineup of speakers, including author of The Creature from Jekyll Island, G. Edward Griffin, who will discuss the state of central banking today. The world's most respected silver analyst, David Morgan of The Morgan Report. Bix Ware of RoadToRuta.com on discovery of the truth behind our massively manipulated markets, and to help expose those who threaten our free market system. Chairman of the Gold Antitrust Action Committee, GATA, Bill Murphy, continues to expose the manipulation of the gold price by the gold cartel. Returning speaker Roger Ver, the Bitcoin Jesus, who recommended buying Bitcoin at last year's conference when it was below $400. It has since risen to over $1,000. Other speakers include Chris Casey of Windrock Wealth Management and Colin Cattell of Palisade Global, and many more. The TDV Internationalization and Investment Summit will be an all-day and evening event on February 24th, held in the 5-star Mundo Imperial Resort and Convention Center in Acapulco, Mexico. For the price of $395, you will spend an entire day with these experts, including an entire evening gala banquet with all food and drinks included. You can find more at tdvinvestmentsummit.com and register today because space is limited. And stay after the summit for the 4-day Anarchapulco conference with the world's biggest anarcho-capitalist speakers, investors, and entrepreneurs, including an entire day on blockchain, Bitcoin, and cryptocurrencies called Cryptopolco on February 28th. And for even more, Tone Vays will host a 2-day stock and cryptocurrency trading workshop after Anarchapulco called TDV Pro Trading Techniques on March 2nd and 3rd. It will be an entire week of activities, and it all starts with the TDV Internationalization and Investment Summit on February 24th. Register now.